The gainers today, Ati River, Rio Vipingo, gaining as much as 8% and 4.3% respectively. How do you see things?
Well, I know like you said earlier on that you didn't get a chance to look at the numbers. Well, when I was leaving the office, I saw some of the numbers coming through, and generally the broad indices were up, and like you said, I think River have been go up. But at this point, I'd like to attribute that to normal volatility. Perhaps one could argue that the strengthening of the shilling could help ease cost of inputs for some of these companies, especially a company like Athi River Mining. So if the cost of inputs are stabilized or eased, then the margins are protected, and one could expect strong growth going forward.
But I mean, why these ones in particular? And I'll ask you why. Because the gainers in today's market are across the spectrum. ARM, a cement manufacturer, Rio Vipingo, an agro producer, Access, an ICT company, Nation Media, a services and advertising company. So it's across the spectrum. So why these particular stocks gaining?
Well, one could argue that there's a bit of confidence coming through. Like I said earlier, strengthening of the shilling, maybe we expect that inflation should be brought under control in the near future. Especially right now, of course, we still have a bit of momentum issues with inflation. So perhaps we'll be looking at the December numbers more closely, and perhaps even the January numbers, to see if there's a downward tick. And a resolution of the accelerated growth of prices in the market, and this is the optimism coming through from this makes some people perhaps the optimistic ones to take positions early so that they can benefit from the largest movements, and that's why it's probably across the spectrum. You want to look at the what you consider undervalued stocks, then which probably could come from anywhere. In fact, I was talking to one of the fund managers just the other day, and they were saying for him at this point stock picking is not too much about fundamentals. He just wants to take a dartboard and pick the stocks using that.
Right.
And that tells you that they're not really too concerned at this point about some of the fundamentals, because they believe that almost everything is good. It's just everything is at this point undervalued, and most likely, whatever position you take, you'll probably make money.
Okay, we have seen the declines in NIC. It's down 2.5%. KQ obviously down. We can expect that with regards to the rights issue and investors seeing some of their shares to be diluted. But why the reversal on NIC?
Again, perhaps normal volatility. It's been trading. It's been changing, oscillating between 27 and 33, or more generically between 27 and 30. So it's still within that band, and until we see strong improvement, we could expect to see that going forward. So I imagine that's a volatility that investors could take advantage of and arbitrage out that movement.
The stronger shilling, as you're saying, restoring confidence to the market at 92 shillings 40. It's a much better showing than we've seen in the last 2 months or so. That should help the agro producers. We already know that coffee production and earnings set to be up 7% in the 2011-2012 harvest season. What are the benefits for the industrial companies, those companies that have to import so much of their inputs, that have to take out loans in foreign currency? How does a stronger currency offset the risks going into the last quarter of the financial year?
Obviously, especially for a lot of these companies, some of those loans are some of the numbers we've seen coming through are unrealized losses. So they're yet to pay out the interest payments, and of course a weaker currency means that you need to buy more of hard currency with the Kenya shillings, just so that you can be able to meet the payments, because these obligations are, like you rightly said, in hard currency, and so a stronger shilling helps them in that regard. And of course, even in terms of inputs, because their inputs are probably dollar denominated, and you want a strong shilling against the dollar so that you can be able to meet your obligations without hurting your margins.
Okay.
So in this regard, it helps in both regards.